Hello there and welcome to yet another episode of Regular Beer Reviews, where regular doesn't refer to the beers being reviewed, but to the reviewer, myself. I'm Jesse, and tonight I'm going to be reviewing a beer that I've never had before. This is another one from the Erie Brewing Company. It is their Derailed Black Cherry Ale. And this one actually has a really cool story in the description that I'm about to read in a minute, but first let's look at the numbers. Beer Advocate gives this beer a 74, which is just okay, and that's with 124 ratings. Rate Beer gives it a 35 overall with a 65 for the style, and the bros have not had this beer. It has an ABV of 5%. The style is a cream ale, and the availability is year-round. It has 17 IBUs, and if you didn't know, the Erie Brewing Company, which this is from, is out of, Erie, Pennsylvania. Well, let's read this description I was talking about. This is pretty cool. This is a description from Rate Beer. It says, brewery folklore tells a story about a trained engineer with a passion for the taste of railbender ale. With every stop he made in Erie came an equal number of stops at our brewery. One extended visit to our former fermenter left the engineer in a rather befuddled state of mind. On his fateful trip out of Erie that evening, his train mysteriously derailed. The engineer swears that a huge black cherry tree had fallen across the tracks. Was the culprit of a huge black cherry tree that had fallen across the tracks was the culprit. Um, no such tree was ever found, but the front of the train was splattered with hundreds of red spots. In tribute to this folklore, our expert brewers introduced Derailed Black Cherry Ale, brewed with fresh, sweet black cherries and the finest malted barley to create a truly cherry-licious ale. Please enjoy responsibly, as we would never want you to get derailed. Now, it's funny they would release that story. So a guy came to your brewery that you knew was an engineer because he comes all the time, and you let him get so wasted when he has to leave that night he derails the fucking train. That seems like irresponsibility on both parts, if you ask me, but still a cool story. And they never found a tree, but there was red spots splattered all over the what if he hit a fucking person? I mean, there'd be red spots from that, too. Oh, this one's coming up. Oh, that one came up even faster than the Misery Bay. Man, the last two beers, I don't know, they've been settling, but man, that one came up quick. Alright. I thought it would be a little darker because it's a. That's weird. I don't know. I'll get into that with the review. Yeah, man, these beers. I mean, they've been settling, but for some reason, I just took it out of the fridge. Just set it here. They've been settling. That one has a huge head on it, superly overcarbonated. I'll have to wait a minute for that to come down. I mean, that is like really, really, really carbonated. I mean, there's still most of the beer in the bottle, and I got that. That just spewed out of there. Yeah, but it's a cool story, I thought. But you know, man, that is like really coming up. All right, I guess we can try to do the review with this here. Let's see here. It is a nice. It's like a very light amber, kind of a reddish, orangish, gold color. Not really seeing any carbonation streaming up now. I mean, I don't understand that. I pulled it out of the fridge, set it down, I opened it, and it just... Same with the Misery Bay IPA that I did. It just spewed out when I opened it up. I don't know. But, I mean, it's got like a 7-8 finger head here. Excuse me. A huge head. Big bubbles, though. Looks kind of frothy. Hopefully we'll get the rest of this poured in a second. Now, let's get a nose on this. Now, for a cream ale, it has the appearance. I'm getting a little bit of the smell. I'm smelling like a maltiness, very sweet, kind of biscuity, bready malt. This beer is super volatile. I mean, just look at that head jiggling away there. You know the one thing that I'm not getting in this beer? I mean, it says black cherry ale, and that's why I use this glass, because I use it for like a lot of darker beers. I assumed it was going to be like a black ale, but it's not at all. It's just a ale brewed with black cherries, and honestly, I don't smell any cherries. I don't smell any at all. I don't like fruit beers usually. This was given to me as, along with the rest of these Erie, Erie beers, but yeah, I'm not smelling. It just smells like a cream ale to me. Sweet. I'm seeing a little bit of carbonation streaming up now. Sweet, malty, not really any hops, kind of a sweet bready malt, maybe a little hints of like caramel and toffee. Maybe the slightest bit of fruitiness there. It might contribute to cherries or something. It smells a little more grapey or like grapes or apples. Doesn't smell nearly as dark as like a cherry. Not getting that distinctive tang from cherries. So I don't know. Let's just go ahead and jump into this one. I can taste like a little bit of fruitiness. Again, that tang at the back end I would contribute to cherries. I guess they did a good job in that sense because I do hate fruit beers. And this isn't overly fruity like most fruit beers, but this is so overly carbonated. It is ridiculous. I still haven't got all the beer out of that bottle. And I can't pour more than just a little bit, and it foams up like that. I did only lose a little bit, maybe a couple teaspoons, when it started spewing out there, but I mean, that is just so carbonated. Look at that head. That is crazy. I gotta deduct points for that. I don't like it, especially a beer like this, black cherry ale. Doesn't it's not a saison or a Belgian double or triple or farmhouse, something that you know is gonna be packed with carbonation because it's bottle fermented. As far as I know, let me actually, yeah, no, I'm not seeing. Let me see here. Yeah, I don't believe this is bottle fermented. It's hard to tell because there's a foamy head in the bottle too. It's hard to get any light through that. It doesn't look like there's any sediment on the bottom of this. This doesn't look bottle fermented. I'm not understanding why it's so carbonated. I was very careful with it. It's been sitting still in the fridge for quite a few days now. I don't understand why it's like that, but it is extremely, extremely carbonated. Yeah, no there's no sediment on the bottom there. It's not bottle fermented. I don't know why it's so carbonated. But also, I don't know why I'm hardly picking up any again, I mean, I like the fact that it's not super fruity, but I expect at least some hints of the fruit. And I'm getting the slightest little bit of a tanginess at the back behind all the sweet bready malts. There's a little bit of a tanginess at the back that I would contribute or that I could contribute to cherries. But and there's nothing about it that says they're cherries. And not even a little bit. I mean, there's a bit of a fruitiness. Like I said, it's lighter. It's more like apples or grapes. I wouldn't say that was cherries. Um, as far as this beer goes, to be perfectly honest, it's kind of bland. It's kind of mediocre. There's not a lot standing out about it. There's certainly nothing about cherries in the flavor. Um, is it drinkable? Yeah, sure. If you can get the damn thing into a glass without it spewing everywhere. Is it sessionable? Well, I believe it's 5%. Yeah, it's very sessionable, more so than like a Budweiser or something. It's pretty sessionable. You could have quite a few of these over an evening without getting totally wrecked. But, I mean, there's nothing that stands out about this beer, really. It's not complex in the flavor in any way. There's barely any fruitiness there, and what is there I wouldn't even contribute to cherries. There's no hop presence. Basically, it's pretty much just sweet maltiness with a little bit of a fruity tang at the end. That's it. So I am going to give Derailed Black Cherry Ale a 4 out of 10. That is failing in my book. That's about what I would give a Budweiser or something. This is not a good beer. There's nothing, I mean, drinkable, yes. Sessionable, yes. But those are the only good things I could say about this beer. It's not good. It's and the carbonation, I really don't like how carbonated this is. Excuse me, I don't think this is that good of a beer at all. So again, a 4 out of 10. That's failing. That's a 40. That, I mean, that's an F. 4 out of 10 for Derailed Black Cherry Ale. If you put cherry on the front of your bottle, you should at least have some cherry flavor in there. I'm not tasting anything, so I'm not happy with this beer. 4 out of 10. Thank you for watching, and keep watching again in the future for more reviews. Plus.